Hello viewers, welcome to Kids Auto and Truck Repair. Today we have a 1995 Ford E350 with a 7.3 diesel. The customer complaint on this vehicle is the ABS light remains on the dash and the engine shuts off by itself sometimes when the vehicle is being driven down the road. This is an ambulance that got turned into a camper slash RV. Let me see if I can show you. This thing is sweet. Let's see if we can look inside. This thing is really nice. Check this out. Man, it makes me want to live here. So the owner of this vehicle did a great job. Actually, he did this himself. He bought an ambulance and turned it into a camper. So he's gonna drive it across country. Okay, so he brought it to us so that we can fix it for him. Actually, he is one of our subscribers here on YouTube. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this vehicle on a test drive. Hopefully it's gonna die on us. And then if it doesn't die, we're gonna come back to the shop so we can scan it. I have my scan tool connected to the vehicle already. I haven't scanned it yet, but let's go for a test drive and see if this vehicle is gonna act up. So right now the ABS light is off. There are no lights on the dash right now. As you can see, we got no lights on the dash, and this truck only has 75,000 miles on it. Okay, so let's close the door. So no lights on the dash. That's interesting. So let's take it for a spin and see what happens. Now, I told the customer if the issue is intermittent, we may not be able to fix it today because I have a pretty long day ahead of me. I have a lot of cars here that I have to look at. And you guys know intermittent issues can be very difficult to find or deal with. So hopefully it's gonna act up right now so we can figure out what's going on with it. And I don't know if I said it already, the owner of this truck came from Virginia. So he came from, I believe, Arlington, Virginia to bring his truck to us. So for bringing business to us. So right there, just as I'm pulling out of the parking lot, the ABS light came on, so that's good. So we got one problem already. So right there, ABS light came on the dash. Okay, so that's customer's complaint confirmed. We have confirmed that the ABS light stays on the dash while the vehicle is being driven. So now let's drive on the road and see if this engine is gonna die on us. The steering wheel is loose. The steering wheel is very loose on this thing. So as you can see, the only light we have on the dash is the ABS light. Now, remember when we first drove out of the shop, the light wasn't on, and then we started picking up some speed, the ABS light came on. This is usually caused by a defective sensor. We probably have one of the wheel speed sensors on this vehicle that is not working, because when the vehicle speed starts to go over 15 miles an hour, all the sensors should start reporting the wheel speed to the ABS control unit. But if the sensors are not reporting the wheel speed to the ABS control unit, the ABS control unit is gonna turn on the light on the dash. So I believe that's what's happening. We most likely have a wheel speed sensor here that's not working. Now this vehicle has 3 sensors. There is 2 in the front and then 1 in the back on top of the differential. I know these vehicles very well. I worked on a lot of these for a long time, so I know these systems like the back of my hand. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to stop here. Let me park over here. Let's figure out, let's just park on the side of the road. I'm gonna turn on my flashers. So let's bring up our scan tool. The engine is still running. We're now gonna turn off the engine. Before we get back to the shop, I would like to scan the engine computer. So this is a Ford. Hopefully it's gonna scan it with the engine running. We might have to turn off the engine. The engine just died. Now, I don't know if the engine died because we were trying to scan it. Let me turn off the engine. Let me turn the key on. Is that what the customer was talking about? Or is it because we were trying to scan it and then the engine died? So this is a 1995 Ecoline with a 7.3 diesel. So let's scan the engine computer. This is the automatic transmission with AC. Let's read the codes, memory codes. Internal control module keep alive memory error. So this could be a computer issue. Internal control module keep alive memory error. Let's go back. Let's go to pending codes. Do we have any pending codes here? No pending codes. Okay. So now let's go to the ABS control unit. Anti-lock brakes. Anti-lock brakes 4-wheel codes menu. Let's see if we have any codes here. Memory codes. We should have a code. What? No communication. What the heck is that? Let's go to data display. This is odd. Let's try this one. We cannot communicate with the ABS control unit. That's odd. So let's go to the shop. Let's go back to the shop so we can figure it out. I'm gonna start the engine. Let's drive back to the shop. Just check that out. When you start to drive, the ABS light comes on. Okay, so I'm gonna drive back to the shop. When I get back to the shop, I will bring you guys back up so we can talk about what way we're gonna go so we can diagnose and figure out what's going on with this van. All right, guys, I'm back at the shop. I'm gonna turn off the engine. I'm gonna turn the key on. I'm gonna bring up our scan tool. It's weird that we cannot communicate with the ABS control unit. Let's go to codes. So key on engine off, self-test. Okay, communication, ignition is on. Okay, so there's no communication with the ABS control unit. And this is probably why the ABS light is coming on the dash, because the ABS control unit is not talking. Now, the ABS control unit not talking can be caused by a defective ABS control unit, or a ABS control unit that's missing power or ground. Okay, knowing that this is an old vehicle, it shouldn't have a lot of power wires or ground wires. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna figure out what are the fuses that supply power to the ABS control unit. Okay, so I'm gonna look at my wiring diagram off camera so I can figure out what fuses send power to the ABS control unit, and then we're gonna check the ABS control unit fuses first to see if the fuses that send power to the ABS control unit are good, and after that we might have to check our powers and grounds at the ABS control unit, because the vehicle didn't die on us. I believe when the vehicle died, when I pulled over on the side of the road to read the codes, it was because I was trying to read the codes when the engine was running, and that sometimes can cause the engine to die. We have confirmed the customer's complaint. The ABS light remains on the dash when the vehicle is being driven down the road. Now, the vehicle didn't really die on us. It died when I pulled over to read the codes, but that's because I was trying to read the codes with the engine running. I know sometimes on these vehicles that can cause the engine to die. Now, I don't like the code that I saw in the engine computer about the keep alive memory. That can be a computer issue, but we have to do some tests to figure out what's going on. So we're gonna focus on what's causing the ABS light to remain on the dash. Maybe this ABS control unit is not getting good power and good ground. Or maybe we have a defective ABS control unit. Who knows? So now the diagnosis starts. So now I'm gonna bring up my scan tool again. Let's try to scan the ABS control unit and see if we can talk to it. If we cannot talk to it, we're gonna check the fuses first. If the fuses are good, then we are going to check our powers and grounds at the ABS control unit, okay? And I'm gonna have to look up service information so we can figure out what fuses supply power to the ABS control unit. And I'm gonna do that off camera. I don't have to show you the boring part of going through service information. So now I'm gonna bring up my scan tool here. Let's see what we got. All right, the key is on. We got our scan tool connected to the vehicle. Let's go back to the ABS control unit. Let's try to read the codes out of the ABS control unit. Let's do the key on, engine off self-test. As you can see, we got a no comm message, no communication. So the key is on, so we cannot communicate with the ABS control unit. So the scan tool cannot talk to the ABS control unit. So we cannot even read any memory codes out of this. So once again, like I said, this ABS control unit could be missing power or ground, or maybe the module itself is bad. So we're gonna go under the hood and check the ABS control unit fuses, and then we will go from there. But before we go under the hood, let me go back to the engine computer. I want to do a key on engine running self-test. So this vehicle has AC, so automatic transmission with AC. Key on engine running self-test, that's what I want to do. So let's do the key on engine running self-test. So the engine RPM has increased a little bit. I hope the camera is picking that up. So the scan tool is gonna pretty much energize or test all the circuits and systems around the engine. And then if there's any fault in any of the systems around the engine, it's gonna display trouble codes on the scan tool screen when this test is done. So let's see what happens. I'm not stepping on the accelerator pedal right now. I'm not stepping, but the engine RPM is high. It's because of this self-test that the scan tool is doing. So right there, the scan tool is done testing pretty much most systems or all the systems around the engine. Check this out. We got P1111 system pass, so we don't have any issues around the engine, so that's good. So now let's turn off the engine. I'm going to turn the key on. I'm going to go to service info first so I can figure out what fuses supply power to the ABS control unit, and then we're going to go to the fuse box so we can check some fuses. Our fuse box is down there. Now, one thing I have realized is instead of getting to the fuse box, it's actually a lot easier getting under the truck so we can get access to the ABS control unit. So instead of testing the fuses in the fuse box and the ABS relay, let's go under the truck so we can test the wiring at the ABS control unit. So I printed out the wiring diagram of the ABS system. So here is our ABS control unit. This is the ABS control unit here. And here are the wires that we have at the ABS control unit. So we're gonna test our powers and grounds at the ABS control unit. So this ABS control unit has 1, 2, 3, 4. So it has 4 ground wires and then 2 power wires. So there is this fuse over here, fuse 17. This fuse over here supplies power to the ABS control unit. So let's go under the vehicle so we can check the wiring at the ABS control unit. We are here under the truck. This is the electrical connector of the ABS control unit. This is the ABS control unit itself. I removed the cover that covers this electrical connector. Here is the cover that covers the electrical connector, so I removed it off camera. So now we're gonna check our powers and grounds at the ABS control unit. So we're gonna check our ground wires first. Okay, so I have a wiring diagram down here that I printed out. So the first wire is the ground. It's a black wire with a white tracer. So we're gonna find our first wire on this connector. So it's up here. You guys probably won't be able to see. So it's the wire over here. So I'm gonna back probe it. So this is a ground wire. Now we're gonna use our test light to test these wires. I also have a power probe down here so I can get good power and good ground from the battery. So here's my test light. I'm gonna touch the back probing tool that I put over here. As you can hear, my power probe is beeping. So now I'm gonna send power on the other side of the test light. If we have ground on this wire, my test light is gonna light. I'm gonna flip the switch on the power probe right there. As you can see, test light lights. So we have good ground on the first ground wire. So now we're gonna test our second ground wire. Which one is it? Our second ground wire is gonna be pin 14. So pin 14, which is this one over here. So we're gonna back probe this wire here. This is a ground. It's supposed to be a ground. We're gonna connect our test light to it. The fact that the power probe is beeping, that tells me that there's good ground there. So now I'm gonna flip the switch on the power probe right there. Test light lights. So our second ground wire is good. So second ground wire is good. Now we're gonna test our third ground wire, which is pin 20. So we're gonna figure out where pin 20 is. It's a black wire. Pin 20, I believe it's this one over here. So right there, my power probe is beeping. So now we're testing pin 20. We're gonna flip the switch on the power probe. Right there, test light lights. So our third ground wire is good. So now we're gonna test our last ground wire. Last ground wire is gonna be pin 27. So pin 27, I believe it's this one over here. Pin 27. So let's make sure we're connecting the right wire. We're back probing the right wire. So pin 27 is up here. So right there, my power probe is beeping. So test light lights. So that's good. Our ground wires to the ABS control unit are good. So now we're gonna test our power supply wires. So let's see how many power supply wires we have on this ABS control unit. Now I'm looking at my wiring diagram here, so that's how I know what wire to look for. So I I have my wiring diagram down here. We got good ground going to the ABS control unit. So now we're gonna check our power wire. So power wire is gonna be pin 17. So pin 17 is coming from a fuse, from the inside fuse box. And pin 17 is a light blue wire with a pink tracer. So let's find pin 17. Where is 17? I'm gonna have to move this light. I'm going to disconnect this electrical connector. I'm gonna undo this 10mm bolt so that we can disconnect the electrical connector of the ABS control unit. Because I'm having trouble seeing the other wire that we're gonna test. All right, so just like that, we got the ABS control unit disconnected. Let's look at the pins. Okay, the pins look good. So let's see what we got here. I see a blue wire here. Maybe it's this one over here. Is this 17? I can't really see the numbers. All right, guys, I have back probed pin 17, which is our power supply wire to the ABS control unit. So now we're gonna use our test light to test the wire. Let's see if there is power at this wire. So I have my test light connected to ground. If I touch this back probing tool, and if there is power on that wire, the test light should light. So check this out, test light lights. So our first power supply wire to the ABS control unit is there. All right, we checked our first power supply wire at the ABS control unit. It checked out fine. We have power getting to the ABS control unit. So now we're gonna check our second power wire, which comes from the relay under the hood. So it's gonna be pin 37. It's an orange wire with a yellow tracer. So it's pin 37. So let's check that. Pin 37, so 39, 39, 38, 37. So I think it's this one here. 39, 38. So let's check this one here. I still have my test light connected to ground. So pin 37 should have power when the ABS relay is energized. So let's check this. I'm gonna back probe. I'm gonna back probe this wire here. Now as I'm back probing this wire, I connect my test light to it. So this wire should have power. As you can see, my test light doesn't light. So which means the ABS relay is not energized under the hood. Now the ABS relay is being energized by the ABS control unit itself. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna test the wire that energizes the ABS relay, which is pin 3. So pin number 3, let's find pin 3 over here. So this is the first wire, so wire number 1. So we got 1, 2, 3. So pin 3 is is a pink wire with a light green tracer. So it's this wire right here, which is pretty easy to find. So we're gonna back probe this wire. Now this wire should have ground, okay? Now, actually there's one thing I'm doing wrong here. I have to do these tests with the module connected. I'm gonna go turn off the key first, and then I'm gonna reconnect the module. So basically, at this point, I would like to test pin 3, which is the control going to the ABS switch. And then I also want to test our communication wire. I would like to test pin 3, which is the relay control, the ABS relay control. And then I'm also going to test pin 4, which is our communication data line. And then I will test pin 37 again. I want to test pin 37 with the connector connected. I'm gonna go back in the vehicle, turn off the key. I'm gonna reconnect this connector, and then we will do the last 2 tests, and after that we should be good. All right, so I have turned off the key inside the vehicle. I'm gonna back probe pin 37 or wire 37. And then I'm also gonna back probe wire number, pin number 4, which is a serial communication data line. So wire number 4, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So just next to the ABS relay control wire is our communication wire. So now we're going to tighten this little bolt here. All right, I'm gonna go in the vehicle and turn the key on. Let's make sure that our back probing tools are back probing the wires very well. So now let's go turn the key on. All right, so the key is turned on. The first wire we're gonna test will be our relay control. The first wire we're gonna test is gonna be the ABS relay control wire under the hood. All right, guys, the first wire we're gonna test will be the ABS relay control wire under the hood. We are back probing that wire with our red back probing tool over here. So I have my test light connected to power. So as I connect my test light to this back probing tool, I have my back probing tool down here. My back probing tool is beeping. So I'm connecting this side of the test light to this side of the test. I'm connecting this side of the test light to this side of the back probing tool. I don't know if you can tell, but we are reading system voltage here. Okay, we got system voltage here. I hope you can see. Now this voltage is going through the relay coil and down to the ABS control unit. Now, if the ABS control unit was good, right now our test light should be lighting right now. Okay, so if I flip the switch, the test light doesn't light. So it means the ABS control unit is not turning on the ABS relay. So it means the ABS control unit is not energizing the ABS relay. Okay, so it's starting to look like we have a module issue here. So now the second wire we're gonna test, I'm gonna test this wire over here, pin 37, which is a power wire that comes from the relay being energized. I mean, we're not gonna have power here because our ABS relay is not energized. Okay, so we will not have power here. We don't even need to check that. We don't need to check that because our ABS relay is not being energized. Okay, so if I touch this tool over here, if I touch this, nothing is happening. Okay, so now I'm gonna try to be the ABS control unit and energize the relay. So if I energize the relay, my test light should light, okay? I mean, if the circuit and everything else is good. So I hope what I'm doing is not really confusing, guys. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to be the ABS control unit. So I have ground on this alligator clamp over here. This alligator clamp is connected to my power probe. So now I'm gonna be the ABS control unit and turn on the relay. I hear the relay click under the hood. So we're going to check our communication wire, which is next to the relay control wire. So now let's see if the ABS control unit is receiving some control or communication coming from the other modules. All right, so now we're gonna connect our lab scope test lead to this black test lead here. All right, so now we are back probing our communication wire. So I have my lab scope connected. So here's what we got. Okay, so we have 9.49 volts on the lab scope screen. So which tells me that this communication system is not shorted to ground, or it's also not shorted to power. Okay, so our communication system is good. So I'm gonna go in the vehicle and start the engine. Let's start the engine and see what happens. I'm gonna start the engine to see if this communication voltage is gonna change.
The engine is running. We have the same thing on the lab scope screen.
We are done. So this ABS control unit is getting good power, good ground. Our communication line is good. So this ABS control unit is defective. We're gonna have to replace this ABS control unit. Okay, so we are done here. Our no communication is coming from a bad ABS control unit. So this is the problem, guys. We are done with our diagnosis on this Ford E350. The ABS light is remaining on the dash because the ABS control unit is defective. So we're gonna have to replace the ABS control unit to fix that. Unfortunately, nobody around here has the ABS control unit. I called my suppliers, nobody has it. So we're gonna have to look around and make more phone calls. Hopefully we can find it. The owner of this vehicle is determined to fix the vehicle, but unfortunately, based on the age of the vehicle, this is an old vehicle, we cannot find the parts. So I'm gonna keep looking. Hopefully I'm gonna find the parts. We might have to go the used parts route, which I don't like, but we will see. So I told the customer to start looking online. Hopefully he's gonna find them. I'm also gonna start looking too. So whoever finds them first will call the other person, will call the other, so we can do it. So I told the customer, start looking online and hopefully you can find the parts. If you find them, let me know. I'm gonna look too. If I find them, I'm gonna let him know so he can bring the vehicle back. So I'm gonna put everything back together. He's gonna take the vehicle with him. When we get the parts, he's gonna bring it back so that we can replace the ABS control unit. So hopefully we're gonna see this vehicle again. Maybe this is gonna be the last time we see the vehicle, so I don't know. So I'm gonna leave this video right over here. I hope you like the video. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, give it a thumb down. But if you do, you gotta tell me why so we can make better videos in the future. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell so you can get notified every time I upload a new video. If you have any comments, questions, criticism, leave them in the comment box. Thanks for watching. See you next time.